Mop faster. Janitor, this isn't a place for people like you. The words sliced through the silence of the hospital corridor. Nurses smirked, doctors chuckled under their breath. And yet the man they mocked simply bowed his head, pushing his cart down the sterile hall. None of them knew that the man scrubbing their floors at night was once one of the most brilliant surgeons in the Cleveland Clinic. The hospital never slept. Machines beeped, lights flickered, heels clicked against the tile. And in the middle of it all moved Daniel Hayes, the night janitor. He wore a faded uniform, his hands rough from bleach and scrubbing, his posture bent by long shifts. He blended into the background, invisible in the eyes of those who thought titles defined worth. But there was something about his eyes sharp, observant, almost too knowing. He noticed every detail, every flicker on the monitors, every faltering breath of a patient passing by. Doctors rushed past him, some tossing trash into his cart without a word, others barking, "Don't touch that door." That's for staff only. One young surgeon laughed with his peers as Daniel mopped. Imagine a janitor thinking he could save a life. Pathetic. The humiliation rolled off Daniel like water on stone. He never spoke back, never defended himself. Because hidden beneath that silence was a past none of them could fathom. Years ago, Daniel Hayes wasn't pushing a mop. He was wearing SCRUBS. He was Dr. Daniel Hayes, one of the most skilled trauma surgeons at the Cleveland Clinic. His hands had saved hundreds. His innovations had been published in medical journals. His reputation was legendary, but a devastating tragedy struck. His wife's sudden death, followed by a malpractice accusation false, but powerful enough to ruin him. His license suspended, his name dragged through mud. Daniel disappeared into silence. To survive, he took the only job offered. Janitor. One stormy night, as Daniel scrubbed near the E, a nurse rushed past him, panic on her face. "We're losing him," she cried. A young boy had been brought in car accident, massive blood loss. Doctors scrambled, shouting over one another. Daniel paused, mop still in hand, listening. The surgical team argued about methods, but Daniel could see it clearly. The boy's vitals, the injuries described. It was a case he had handled dozens of times before. He knew exactly what needed to be done. "Stay out of the way, janitor," one doctor sneered as Daniel lingered near the doors, but Daniel's voice, calm and steady, cut through. "Clamp the descending aorta before you lose more pressure." The room froze. The doctors turned, stunned. A janitor giving surgical instructions. One surgeon laughed out loud. "What are you YouTube trained?" The others chuckled, brushing him aside, but within minutes, their patient FLATLINED. As alarms blared. The young surgeon panicked. His hands shook. His knowledge failed him. The child's mother sobbed outside the glass. Daniel stepped forward, his voice no longer meek, but commanding. "If you don't act now, he's gone. Let me in." For the first time, the arrogance cracked. The lead doctor hesitated, then with no other choice, nodded reluctantly. "Fine, but if this fails, it's on you." Daniel washed his hands, tied the gown, and stepped into the OR like a man stepping back into his destiny. Scalpel in hand, his movements were precise, almost poetic. He clamped, sutured, directed the team with authority. Every order was sharp, every decision flawless. The boy's vitals stabilized. The bleeding slowed. Within an hour, the impossible had happened. The child lived. The OR fell silent, stunned. Nurses whispered. The arrogant young surgeon stared at Daniel as though seeing him for the first time. When the boy was wheeled out, his mother rushed to thank the team. But it was Daniel she clung to, sobbing, whispering, "You saved my baby." Whispers spread through the hospital corridors. Who was this janitor who performed the surgery better than their trained staff? The chief of surgery demanded answers. Daniel's name was pulled up in old records. And there it was, Dr. Daniel Hayes. Once a star at the Cleveland Clinic, the doctors who had mocked him stood frozen in shame. The hospital board convened. Some wanted to bury the story, admitting it would tarnish their reputation. Others insisted. Justice demanded his reinstatement. Daniel, however, remained calm. "I don't need your titles," he said. "I just want to heal." The arrogance of the young doctors crumbled. One by one, they approached him with lowered heads. "I'm sorry," whispered. The very surgeon who had once laughed the loudest. Daniel nodded but said nothing. His silence was heavier than any reprimand. Word spread beyond the hospital walls. The media caught wind. Soon, the nation knew the story. The janitor surgeon who had been forgotten, humiliated, but never defeated. Daniel was offered his license back, positions at prestigious hospitals, accolades he had once lost. But he chose differently. He opened a small free clinic for the poor, where no one was judged by their clothes, their color, or their title. In that humble clinic, Daniel Hayes became more than a surgeon. He became a legend.